Okay, so I just thought I would do a little short video vegan story time because I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about how I really do not like the election, and I used to find politics very interesting and fascinating. However, this current election is just so divisive, and yes, I know every election has been divisive in some way or another, but it just feels like everything is just politicized, like, too much. Like, even at Coachella, like, why do you have to talk about Donald Trump at Coachella? As a disclaimer, I don't like him, and I don't agree with his policies and his comments, and I think they're rude, but I also think he's a provocateur, and he says things to get attention. And I also don't think that him and Hillary Clinton are that off point. He might be saying things right now, but if you notice, he's kind of wheeled back some of his more stringent little comments now that he's the only Republican in town. And I'm not saying that I want him to be president, but I'm not all that overly excited about Hillary either. Back in 2008, I was very invested in the election, and I thought that Obama was the best choice. He's a unifier. I think he really gets people that work hard for a living, and he also has empathy for businesses. And I know some conservatives will never give him that acknowledgement, but Obama is a very reconciliatory person. I just really like him, even if I don't agree with how he handled everything. I just think he was a very good president, and there is nobody running this time around that I'm that excited about. Just my personal take. And honestly, I just got to the point 2 years ago that I grew tired of the election, and I've kind of been changing my mind about things as time goes on. And when I became a vegan, I started becoming more invested in that because honestly, it's about health, it's about caring about the environment, it's about caring about animals, and it's a good thing. And I know some people think vegans can be very stringent, but there's a reason that I don't think, like, even when they come off as really assertive about it, that they are any worse than religious groups and political groups that are more mainstream in the country. And why do I think that? Well, it's because even though I don't agree with the vegans who shame people type of videos, I have a different perspective than some people who are omnivore or straight vegan. The first 5 years of my life, I was a vegan because my mom raised me that way. So anyway, we became vegetarian, and over time, I was more of a semi-vegetarian because I wanted to fit in with kids at school. And I got so much just marginalization and harassment just for how I ate. Like, I know that might sound silly to somebody, like, oh, who cares? But first off, I was never like a really outgoing kind of kid. I wasn't assertive, and I didn't tell people things about what I was eating. I just kept to myself, and I had people make little comments to me. Like, I remember one time in 4th grade, I was eating some vegan chili, and I couldn't open the can, and this boy's like, let me open the can for you. And he's like, this is vegan. And I was so embarrassed, and my face felt red, and he made me feel like it was the most horrible thing in the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, even though I liked it, and I threw it away in the trash because of his comments. So anyway, as time progressed on, I became more semi-vegetarian, and I did begin to eat chicken more, and I never really loved dairy. That was one thing I would consume because I was made to feel that that was the only way you could get calcium, which, by the way, isn't true. You can get calcium from, supplemented almond milk and other sources. You don't, and eat kale and spinach, but, you're not really supposed to say that because the average person won't agree with you, but, that's fine. They don't have to. But one thing I noticed over time is, as I started eating more dairy in my late 20s and early 30s, was like I could never maintain a certain weight. And you do need to be in a healthy weight range. I know that. I've always been active, but I was never one of these people that wanted to go on a diet. I was very active. I walked many miles per week. I was a pedestrian all my life. extremely active person. So it's not that I was just sitting around all the time, anything but. It was what I was eating that was contributing. Like for me, just a lot of bread. Even now as a vegan, I don't want to eat a lot of bread because I feel that I don't do well with like processed carbs. That's just for me. Maybe other people are different. And just drinking soda and the dairy, eating lots of pizza. Like even though I eat fruits and vegetables, I was really into making homemade pizzas like for the longest time. Like that was a big thing for me. I loved pizza. Like I couldn't let go of it. So anyway, I came to the conclusion about 2.5 years ago that I wanted to be a vegan. And maybe it's because all of my life I was semi-vegetarian and it was leading up to this point. So I had a turkey that my sister gave me because she had an extra one, and I thought I'd make it. And I always had a problem with preparing raw meat. It made me really sad. So I was making the turkey and I wanted to cry. That probably sounds unexplicable to somebody who's like, oh, I love my meat. They don't get it, but I just was thinking about how the turkey had been living, and it felt pain to become dinner for someone. And okay, if you want to eat meat, that's fine. I'm not telling you not to, but on a personal level, I just realized, I came to the realization, I don't need to prepare raw meat to have a nutritious meal. Anything but. It's not true that you have to have animal protein to be strong. That's not true. And that day I decided I'm not gonna make meat anymore because this is my litmus test. If I were to live in an environment where I had to get my own food, like gather it, grow it, or slaughter it, like what would I be willing to do? Would I be willing to kill a chicken? No. Did I enjoy preparing meat to eat? No, I didn't. I didn't enjoy that. So on a personal level, I decided to become a vegan, and also I had never really loved dairy anyway, so for me, the transition was quick. And one thing I noticed was I always loved to eat hearty portions because I'm a very physically active person, but my weight dropped dramatically, like in a few months, when I could never do that eating a standard diet. And yeah, I made some better changes by not drinking soda anymore and just things like that, but I'm still eating an abundant amount of calories, maybe 2,500 to 3,000 some days, because as an active person, you need to eat. And veganism has just worked really well for me. But I don't do it exactly like other vegans. Like, I don't think drinking a cup of coffee a day or two is bad. I don't have a problem with eating plant-based proteins. For instance, I like to eat peanuts. I have no problem with weighing 126 pounds at 5'3". I think that's healthy. There are some people, and this can be disconcerting, and I kind of get that vibe when I'm watching YouTube videos where you'll have a woman say, oh my gosh, I was 128 pounds, oh no, I was getting obese. Or somebody saying, my BMI was 21. And those are not bad numbers. Those are good numbers. And I know, like, if you want to be part of the aesthetically pleasing crowd, that might not be good for you, but I'm sorry. If you think 5'3" and 126 pounds is too big, that is kind of your problem. And that is not a healthy way to think, because there's nothing wrong with being a little bit larger in a healthy weight range. If you want to be at a lower weight range, you should do it. But yeah, when it comes to veganism, things like that, I don't agree with, like saying you have to be super slim. One great thing about veganism is, yes, it's helped me lose weight, but I want to eat the plant foods I like, and yes, those are healthy. And sorry, you don't have to limit yourself. Follow some of the vegan doctors. They're not going to say you have to limit your, well, some of them might say limit your fat, but the really good ones won't, They're not going to say you can never eat plant-based fat, To me, it's about not wanting to slaughter an animal because they feel pain. It's not wanting to prepare it. And yes, some anecdotal experiences. I haven't had a cold since I went vegan, and I used to get a cold twice a year. And I've been around people that have the flu and colds, and maybe that's just pertaining to me, but there are other vegans that will tell you as much. I've heard some people that say they eat paleo and things like that that have the same experiences, but for me, being vegan has worked, and I just believe in it more than like politics. So when I'm vegan, it's not like to fit in with a group, it's to be myself. I don't agree with some of the more stringent vegan videos or blogs, but on the same token, if a vegan's being a little assertive, I don't think they're all that different than people who believe in a certain political agenda or people who follow a certain sports team. Like, everybody has things that they believe in. And here is where I stand on veganism. I don't even want everybody to be vegan. Like, for me it works. I think it's great. I kind of can relate better to someone who's a vegetarian or a vegan. You know, that's just my personal perspective. I feel like I can talk to them more. Like, they're gonna get certain things that an omnivore's just not gonna get. Like, well, some omnivores are very open to just people living however they want, but just at the end of the day, it's easier like to talk with vegans and like kind of share like, yeah, you know, like, have you been the butt of like just, you know, standard American diet jokes like, oh, humans have carnivore teeth and just things like that. And well, there are people that are vegetarian. They might not be straight on vegan, but like in India, a sizable part of the population is vegetarian. And even like in the blue zone here in Loma Linda, a lot of them are vegan. Some of them, most of them are probably more vegetarian, and some of them eat more of a standard diet, but some of the traditional Seventh-day Adventist people are vegan and vegetarian, and they have some of the longest life expectancies in the US and the world. And at the end of the day, like, I really believe in health and let food be thy medicine, and for me that's what works. If eating a standard American diet is what works for you, that's great. I don't care. Like, I don't even think everybody has to be a vegan, but on the same token, there's a reason people are drawn to veganism. It really speaks to you, and I don't feel like it's extremist. Some people think, oh wow, they just are very rigid in their worldview. Well, who isn't? Who is not rigid in their worldview? Because a lot of people are, and sometimes, a lot of times, it's people who eat a standard American diet who told me back even when I ate chicken, you're not going to get enough protein. I like my meat. If I had a dime for every time someone said that, I'd be a millionaire. So maybe before you get upset at vegans who seem, or just think that they're too clouded in their worldview for feeling a certain way, just think for a second. Maybe they have a point. Maybe they enjoy the health benefits and they care about animals. And if you don't agree with them and you think your diet is superior, then what they say shouldn't matter, right? That's just my take on it. Thanks for watching.